Hey y'all, I've got 3 really easy and delicious chicken dinners for you. I've lost some of my footage for this, but this is a lard fried chicken. I'll tell you what I did, and I'll have the recipes linked down below. But I just heated up the lard and I mixed some salt and pepper over the chicken, and that is a whole chicken cut up. And then I had some flour and added baking powder to it and salt and pepper and whisked that up. I dipped the chicken in there, and then I dipped it in water and just put it back in the flour, and you'll let it sit on a tray in the refrigerator for about an hour or two. And I let mine sit about an hour, and now I'm going to put it in the lard, and you're just going to do one layer in your Dutch oven. So I'm just going to put all the chicken in at once, and you will have to rotate your pan. I'm doing the America's Test Kitchen recipe, and they said to kind of rotate your pan every 5 minutes for the first 10 minutes, so you'll eliminate the hot spots. And then you will, after you fry that for 5 minutes, turn it 5 more minutes and turn it, and then you will be at about the 10-minute mark. And then after that you will cook it 5 to 9 more minutes till all the chicken comes up to temperature. And this was one of the best fried chicken dishes I have ever had. I highly recommend you fry it in the lard. And I got a big tub of it at Walmart, and it wasn't but about $8. And this was some of the best chicken you will ever have. So I've got all the chicken in there, and I rotated it around for 10 minutes. And then I cooked mine about 8 more minutes, and it was so good, y'all. Look, that was so good. You have got to try this recipe and make it with lard. And I just served it with some corn, mashed potatoes, and some sweet potatoes. And this was a delicious dinner and the best fried chicken you will probably ever have. And now I'm going to make some mini chicken pies. I love the banquet chicken pies, and so I thought I'd make my own. And I'm using just some pie crust that I had in the fridge that I needed to use up, and using some canning rings. And you could also use some crescent roll dough if you have that, but I needed to use up this pie crust. And you don't have to make a bottom crust if you don't have to, but I like a lot of crust in mine. So I just sprayed the pan, and I'm laying down the pie crust. I have some chicken left over from the other day, and I added it to some cream of mushroom soup. I made my own cream of mushroom soup and froze it in a jar, and it was so good, and it defrosted really well. So next time I need cream of chicken soup or cream of mushroom, I'll have it in the freezer, and I can just defrost it whenever I need it. And I'll just put the top crust on there and bake it at 350 until the crust gets brown and the filling is nice and bubbly. And these freeze really well if you want to put them in the freezer for a snack or a dinner. These came out really well, and they didn't even stick to the pan. And this last one is a chicken and dumpling recipe you have got to make. And it called for 3 pounds of chicken thighs. I will have the exact recipe linked down below in the description box, but this was so good. I don't think I'll go back to the regular chicken and dumplings again. But you're just putting in some chicken broth. I doubled the chicken broth because I like mine a little bit more soupy. And also, the more broth you have, the more dumplings you can put, and that's my favorite part. So I cooked the thighs for about 30 minutes, and then I took them out and took the skin off and the bones out, and I cooked those for a little bit longer so I could get some more broth. So now I'm going to let that simmer, and I am going to work on a roux that's going to thicken up the chicken. So I've got 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and I'm also going to add some oil, and I'm adding celery, carrots, and onions, and you're just going to cook all of that until it's soft for about 8 minutes. And then you're going to add some flour and whisk that in. And we're also going to add in 4 cups of some chicken stock. And this is what's going to go into that chicken that I am simmering on there. So it's going to thicken it up really well, and it's going to be really flavorful because you've got more chicken broth in there. And it is just some of the best chicken and dumplings you will ever make. It takes more time to do that, but it is so worth it. All right, now I'm going to add that roux back into my chicken and chicken broth and let that cook. And now we're going to make the dumplings. We're just going to add some flour, parsley, baking powder, and salt. And in another bowl, you're going to add milk, butter, and egg. And then we're going to mix the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients together. And then we're going to mix it up, and you don't want to over mix it. You should have a sticky dough. So now here is the milk and the butter and the egg in another bowl. And like I said, it is not a quick and easy version of chicken and dumplings, but it is so good. You've got to try it at least once. So mix the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients and mix that together, and that's going to be your dough. So we're just going to drop that by spoonfuls into the broth. I think my dumplings were just a little bit too big. Next time I will make them probably about half the size, but they were still really good. So you got to try it. Like I said, you got to try this recipe at least once. So you are going to cover them and cook until the dumplings are cooked through about 12 to 15 minutes. And then you're going to, if you want to, you can stir in some reserved cream and some more parsley, but we ate it just like it was, and it was amazing. Best chicken and dumplings I've ever had. So I highly recommend these 3 recipes. You have got to try them. They were so good, and this is one of the best ways that you can use up chicken, especially a good chicken and dumplings. And I hope you enjoy all 3 recipes. I'll have them linked down below, and I'll see y'all in the next video.